welcome. My name is Sean, and today we're going to be making an abstract photograph using a photograph of myself taken about 10 years ago in a studio. I don't have access to the original raw files, so it's actually kind of pixelated, as you see, but that's not really going to be a problem for us. It's going to end up relying on a lot of masks and textures that are going to make it painterly, hopefully, and we'll go from there and see how everything works out. All right. So Photoshop has made it really easy for us to make selections of the subject from the background, as long as the background is shot on a fairly monochromatic surface. So I'm just going to go to do that. I'm just going to go to select, make sure my portrait is selected, and subject. It's going to load for a little while, and it will make a rough selection. Now, in order to make the mask, I'm going to click the mask down here, and there we are. Pretty easy. As you can see, we are now on a white background with our subject isolated. Now from here, we can go pretty much about anywhere, and it's only limited by your imagination and your creative process, really. Like, I personally use a lot of experimenting with different styles before I move on to the next step. But I would say that my work relies heavily on masks and textures. So I've imported these textures. Here I have a blue paint, more blue painterly thing, some crumpled paper texture, and an ink blot. And those are the textures I will be using to modify this photograph. Now from here, I'm going to go ahead and bring in a copy of one of my textures by pressing Control C. I'll bring it in onto, well, first, actually, I'm going to press Control J to copy this 3 times, hide these 2 additional layers, and then I'm going to take this, Command C to copy, hit on my first layer that I'm working on, press Command V, and create a clipping mask. You're going to see that what this is doing to our image. Then you can check the layer styles to see if there's anything interesting that happens from here. And I would encourage always, as you're working through, to see what works effectively. But I'm just going to go with this. And this is going to create this painterly background of the portrait. So, yeah, that'll be the first step. Okay, so secondly, we're going to click our second portrait and make threshold. Now you can slide this up and down to change the values between black and white on threshold, but I quite like this here at 45. So I'm going to go ahead and create a clipping mask. Press Command, make sure that both the portrait and the mask threshold layer are together, and press down Control E. Then I'm going to use the magic wand tool, make sure it's on contiguous, and I have it on 3x3 average, and I'm going to make sure that all of the black, not going to turn off contiguous, all the black is gone. So now you'll see that we have, it's doing that. And then I'm going to go ahead and bring in the C texture by pressing Control C, pressing here, and I'm going to convert to a clipping mask, and it's going to do this. So now there's a few things we can do here. I'm going to go ahead and bring down the opacity. Bring down the opacity there. And it's going to do this. I'm also going to blur our layer to about 0.5 pixels. So the white kind of has this blurred edge to it, so it doesn't look too rough and pixelated. Yeah. That's what it looks like so far. All right, now I'm going to try to bring back some detail from our original image. And this is going, first I'm going to make sure I have extra copies as always and work with the bottom copy. Now I'm going to compress control and click the mask, and I'm going to go to gradient on the mask. So I click gradient and I make sure the mask is selected. Then I'm going to make sure it's on radial, and we're going to go white to black, and I'm just going to slowly radially bring in this top layer, and that's going to be okay, I think. I'm just going to press back here, and that's going to do that. Deselect our selection. I'm going to go ahead and blur our selection, Gaussian blur. So I'm going to blur it heavily. 31 pixels, I think. That's going to be a blur. Yeah. So there we go. We've successfully brought back some of our detail in the face. I think that'll work for now. Okay. Now I'm going to bring another copy of a texture we already used. It's our C texture. That's labeled C texture here. I'm going to go up. I'm going to press Command V. Nope. I'm going to press our C texture, Command C, Command V, create another clipping mask, and then I'm going to bring this to either overlay or soft light. I think I like soft light. We're going to go soft light. And you'll notice that what this is doing is bringing in some of the texture of that image back to overlay this. Like really dramatic face pixels that we brought back in. I think that's going to work. Now, okay, so if you look at our, hold on 1 second here. Nope, that's not what I wanted to do. Are basically all the layers that we've worked with. I'm going to go ahead and select them all to make a summary layer. And I'm going to do that by pressing Control, Alt, Shift, and E. And it's going to create a summary layer here. You'll see that it turning it on and off has no effect on the image. But what I'm going to do is go ahead and I'm going to add a stylized layer. And I'm going to go to oil paint. And this is going to create a really dramatic effect. And you might be like, this is a little too heavy for what we're trying to do. It looks like just a straight up filter. And it is. But what we're going to do is here, is we're going to go to select, color range, and we're going to select all the white. We're going to delete those pixels. And we're left with that. And then I'm going to go to check out some of the the different layer styles. Now this is really important, I think, is just being able to explore with what you can do with a layer after you have an idea. So you can either, you know, lower the opacity, and it creates this effect. And this is what it'll look like without it, and this is what it'll look like with it. So it'll look kind of wonky. I'm going to go ahead and put in a mask, make sure black is selected, go in on a brush, and bring the eye back in. Bring the eye back in and blur the mask to about 22 pixels. So if you look at our crop, it's pretty basic. We can't, since we're trying to do something that may resemble a cover art for an artist or a musician, we don't really have that much wiggle room with the square crop, especially if we wanted to add text in somewhere in the future. So I would suggest just making it as simple of a composition as you can possibly get. If not, using the rule of thirds, like normally I would use the rule of thirds to get the eye in focus. But since we need room for text, I would retreat back to this crop for now. And yeah, that's about it for that. I'm going to go ahead and take the next layer here, turn it on. So we have, this is what it looks like normally, but I'm going to switch it to color. That's what it'll look like normally. It'll just bring back all the detail of the original image, which is not what we're trying to do. We're trying to bring back the color just from the original image. So it kind of removes these blues and bring back this gray and brown hair, and it retains that kind of paintbrush-like feel to it. So again, like we did before, we're going to make another summary layer up to here. So from this all the way down here, I'm just going to press Shift, Control, Alt, Shift, E. It's going to create another summary layer. Then I'm going to go to Filter, Stylize, use another Emboss layer. Now it gives you options, the height. I'm going to go 6 pixels, and I'm going to go down to -45° angle to emboss this image. Now I'm going to go from normal to soft light, and it's going to create this effect. It kind of gives it a three-dimensionality, if you will, a little like it embosses it. So that's what emboss does. It's easy to bring it back to go by going into soft light. It's very common I've seen when I've learned to bring this to soft light. So there we go. That's that. That's for that layer. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to combine all of the working layers that we've worked with so far into a group. So I'm just going to shift click from the last emboss layer down to the white background layer and make a group. In this folder, it's going to be group 1. So we have our textures folder, which is just for our textures, and group 1, which is everything that we've done so far. Now from here, I can do things like put down, I'm going to use this mask here on group 1. I'm going to go ahead and copy the white background. Hold on. There. So now, if I were to put any kind of painterly background, it would appear like that. Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and use an ink blot, and then I'm gonna go here, and it's gonna have a background like that. Now, I don't really jam with the blue on account of it kind of goes away from our warm tones that we have on the subject. So I'm just going to go to hue and saturation, make a clipping mask, colorize, and I'm going to do a warm tone. Maybe this red. There we go. That created a background that is totally different than our background we had before. So with this background, I'm going to go ahead and actually blur it, Gaussian blur. 22 pixels is a little heavy, but I might go down to 1 pixel. And here we are. This is what we are left with. I hope that this video gave you some ideas or some methods that you could use in your own personal artwork, or inspire you to seek out information on Photoshop to improve or just get started. Like, I would say that adding text to this is a craft in and of itself. And it would depend on what your artist name and the title of your album would be, and really what kind of style. I mean, this may have a more indie kind of feel to it, but if you work with whatever media you have and whatever stylistic changes you have, you can really, the sky's the limit. You could do anything on Photoshop. It's beautiful.